So the first step, obviously, is to begin by talking to your relatives and asking questions. All of us who are lived many, many years and started genealogy somewhat later in life than when we were children, perhaps are wishing that we'd spent more time with those that were old and that we knew. Now, the question you may say is, well, what if I don't have any relatives? Well, you actually do, whether you are aware of it or not. You have two parents, a male and a female parent, and you have four grandparents and 8, 16, 32, 64. That's your direct line grandparents. That's not your aunts and uncles and cousins and all of the other people out there. And so even if you don't know these people, even if you have no idea that they exist, they're there and they're out there and they're available to be found. And one way to do that, of course, is to begin with having a family tree on one of the major websites, and also to get a DNA test along with your family tree. The two have to go together. You have to have a family tree and you have to have the DNA test. We assume that you know who your relatives are. And on the other hand, if you don't know who they are, then you really have to go to find them out. Well, that's what comes first. It's kind of a chicken and an egg problem. So you have to start somewhere. And you can start by looking at whatever you have in your own possession, and then you move to the things that you don't know. And obviously, we have the situation where you start with yourself, and then you look what you don't know, which is everything else. In other words, anything you don't know is what's out there. What genealogy does is it will give you the tools necessary to go out and find this information and actually discover who your family is and where all of this information can come from. Here's the key to the whole thing. The key is that you need to learn something about doing genealogy before you go too far. So you need to learn about what is known about the way that we go about doing genealogical research, and that there is a methodology, meaning there's a way of doing things in genealogy that produces accuracy and records and things that you need to learn about your family. So it's kind of very important that you begin with the process of learning. So how about getting some instructions? The first one to get in and to understand is a major website that my wife and I have been working with the people who do this website now for a number of years. And it's called the Family History Guide. And what the Family History Guide is a free learning, research, and activities center for family history. It's a structured, sequenced teaching program. It has step-by-step instructions on how to do all of the major things in genealogy. The address is the TFHG thefhguide.com. And it's completely free and accessible, and it's a basic place to start learning. So here's an example. So you can see across the top where it says FamilySearch, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past. Each of those areas have individual instructions for those programs and some other programs that go along with those programs. For example, with FamilySearch, there's detailed instructions for Goldie May, which is an add-on program which is now available on the Family Search Center's portal for all of the Family Search Centers around the world. But so FamilySearch Family Tree is one of the subjects. There's also one subject here that's extremely expansive, and that's countries. And there are structured instructions for starting research in almost every country of the world that has records that are searchable and available. So there's a detail here that is quite amazing. The second part of it is you'll need a place to record the information you find. And the FamilySearch Family Tree is a free website that will allow you to add in and put in that information. for most people who are starting to enter their information in the family tree, as you enter information about some of your deceased ancestors, you may very well connect with deceased ancestors already in the tree, in which case your whole process of finding out who your ancestors were just becomes overwhelmingly large instead of just a few names that you're aware of. In any case, it's still acknowledged to be one of the best places, and certainly one of the very few free places that have the ability to help you, as well as provide a structure for entering your family history. Now, what's new about the family history, about FamilySearch, is that you can access a complete structured set of lessons that teach you step-by-step research process and about the FamilySearch family tree and about everything else to get going in genealogy. So this is the website, FamilySearch.org. I would suggest you start by getting in, and you can register, you can sign in and see a lot of things. You may not be aware, and this is something that's relatively new, it's only been the last few weeks, that this has been structured the way it has been and available online, that there is a FamilySearch Learning Center, and it's a good place to start. Sign-in process. First of all, you click on the little icon, the question mark, and then on Help and Learning. And it goes to this section, and you scroll down, and there's the Learning Center. It says Build Skills, Make Progress. There's a research process introduction, there's US Census research, and other ways to search that are helpful. And it's very, very helpful to go through these getting started classes. Research Basics will take you through a number of very specific classes teaching you the entire research process. Now, there's Family Tree Basics, and this is a step-by-step. And the interesting thing about the Family Tree Basics is that it is based on the Family History Guide. The Family History Guide is now an integral part of the training process for the FamilySearch.org website. So these are kind of interesting things. Now, over on the side, there's technology skills, and that is a list of instructions on how to use some of the equipment that's available for digitizing various things in both the FamilySearch library and at the BYU library. There's a lot more, obviously, in here. It just is extensive, and there's the Family Tree Basics is a very long list of programs that are available.